Hey guys, just wanted to do my review of Arrow Season 5, Episodes 9 and 10, respectively titled Who Are You and Second Chances. Who Are You is the mid-season premiere, takes place right where the mid-season finale left off, in which Oliver walks into the Arrow cave and finds Laurel, saying that he doesn't know how it was, and explains that she's alive because the Wave Rider had gone back in time and saved Laurel by taking her up on the wave rider and using their technology to bring her back to life. But it's like Oliver says, like, I never saw a white light, I never saw the wave, I never saw your body being taken. And Laura explained it hadn't happened yet, and Felicity comes in and immediately hugs Laurel, but and they decide to have a party celebrating her return. And there are some people who acknowledge it feels awkward just after Billy Malone's murdered. And there's this joke. They have this conversation between Renee and Oliver, saying the Lance sisters just have a habit of coming back to life, and he just kind of like, wait, what? Hold on. And then of course there's a little nod where Felicity is suspicious of Laurel and wondering if she's the real deal, because she's the last person she hands out all the glasses of drinks to. Everybody's drinking champagne. Felicity leaves her with the choice between the champagne and the water. She takes the water because, recovering former alcoholic. And they just cheer and just figure, let's celebrate the miracles as they come. But then, of course, the whole when Rory comes in to check in on Felicity in the Arrow Cave, she realizes that the whole party was a ruse to get a sample of her DNA from the glass, which checks out. And then Renee makes a joke saying, "Oh, what about an evil twin?" And then they have this look, and then Felicity has this look of horror on her face. Like, even though Renee was joking, he starts telling her about, apparently Cisco had told at least Oliver and Felicity about Laurel's Earth 2 doppelganger, Black Siren, and they had her in custody at Star Labs, and who of course is the one who's impersonating Earth 1 Laurel, and she attacks Felicity and Rory, and then it's only Oliver coming into the Arrow Cave and firing an arrow at her, and then Black Siren using her sonic cry in order to make her escape. And then they call Team Flash, and they find Star Labs footage of Prometheus breaking her out of the pipeline and avoiding security and getting past security, because let's face it, Arrow Cave and the Star Labs is just like the Luthor Mansion on Smallville, which is just like any idiot can break in, do it just for the sake of the plot. And of course, Felicity's the one who's like being paranoid the whole time and not trusting Black Siren at all, because when Team Arrow is trying to rendezvous at a meeting place with Black Siren, saying that that Prometheus forced her to do what he did and she can help find them, she convinces the new recruits to go against Oliver's orders to stand down, and they just said, "Oh, just take her out and ambush her." And in this ensuing fight, Siren destroys the Black Canary statue, which is really a huge tragedy, because it made her made Katie Cassidy look like she had butterface. But then Oliver is forced reluctantly to trank Black Siren and put her in a cage with the sonic dampening technology, similar to her cell in Star Labs, in which she explains her backstory about how she moved to Central City after Earth 2 Oliver drowned in the Queen's Gambit and wanted to start a new life, and she got hit with the dark matter wave on Earth 2. And I don't remember, I think that she said that she might have also lost like her own parents on that Earth. But Felicity just doesn't trust Black Siren at all, where Oliver just thinks like, oh, if he can if because she couldn't save Laurel, maybe she could save the soul of her doppelganger. And Black Siren's just taunting her, and while she's given a glass of water, the power goes out, and that allows Black Siren to escape. And Oliver's pissed because Felicity actually engineered the whole thing, because she put water in her nanites in her water in order for them to track her down. And it turns out, and it's just like, I guess my biggest problem is that, how much they had to nerf Black Siren's power for the sake of the plot, because there's this huge fight at a warehouse where Oliver fights Prometheus, and then the team is fighting Black Siren, and then Oliver's forced to come to the rescue because Felicity's out in the field trying to help I guess Mr. Terrific with a sonic dampener, because the latter is feeling down on himself for not being a good enough fighter and losing, and his husband leaving him. But after like a pep talk from Renee, he just says, "Why don't you just focus on your strengths as being the tech guy, and like being the tech guy, that's what you were doing before." And then he's able to use the sonic dampener to nullify her powers, and then she gets knocked out with a right hook by Felicity. I repeat, Black Siren, who appeared in the penultimate episode of The Flash Season 2, had a sonic cry powerful enough to level buildings, go toe-to-toe with the Flash himself, immobilize him, gets her ass kicked basically gets her ass kicked by Mr. Terrific and Felicity of all people. And to add insult to injury, instead of following through with a redemption arc like I was hoping for, the second episode introduces a woman named Tina Bolin, who was a former Central City cop, who was undercover with this drug lord who was torturing her on the night of the particle accelerator explosion, and they found her, I guess her husband and lover Vincent, and in the whole chaos of like the particle accelerator going off and the dark matter wave reaching the warehouse, this guy named Sonus shoots Vincent, and then as Tina gets hit with Tina's yelling in anguish, she gets hit with the dark matter, and of course that's how she gets the canary cry. And it turns out that she's actually been a drifter who's been acting as a vigilante, fighting crime, and also but trying to find Vincent's killer. And they've been and Team Arrow's been been trying to vet people and see who can be a new carry on the legacy for Black Canary. And they're going through all these people's profiles, and then Curtis is the one that tells them about Tina Boland. And listen, I don't care what anybody says. I mean, whether or not you like Laurel, it still didn't change the fact that her actress got shafted for 5 years and felt like she kind of got strung along, got the short end of the stick. And I still feel like had they, her portrayal as Black Siren was a testament to the fact that she could have pulled off an edgier version of Black Siren, and given that she was given the same backstory as this Tina Boland woman, she could have been a more truer version of the character that was more universally loved, as opposed to being as divisive as she was. And that being said, I try to go in with an open mind about this new person, but I still felt this cognitive dissonance from, she does have more similarities to Dinah Drake, who was the mother of Dinah Laurel Lance. There were two Black Canaries in the comics. Dinah Drake was, I guess, she has the name of Laurel's mother in the comics, and also you find that's where Tina Boland was an alias, and she also has the backstory of having a husband murdered, and as well, and trying to seek revenge, and kind of being this kind of edgy and kind of flippant. So she also feels like another decomposite character, another version of the Black Canary with aspects of the comic book versions. at the same time, it's like you can't help but feel like it was kind of it was really completely contrived that just after they get rid of the Black Siren, that they just happen to find this woman who just happens to have a canary cry, and they said has more control over it than Black Siren, even though Black Siren can level buildings, and her name just happens to be Dinah, and happens to have fighting skills. I mean, it's a mix. It feels like there's some aspects of her character just feel like contrived coincidences to make her feel like she's the suitable successor for Laurel. But it's like that's why it's kind of a mixed bag, and I'm trying to give. I still want to give her a chance and just see how it plays out. But it turns out her husband's killer Sonus also has like, it's supposed to be like affect sound waves and vibrations, but it just seems like it has the same powers as the top on the Flash and the comic book version of Count Vertigo, and somehow the sonic dampener is able to nullify Sonus's powers. And the thing is about this new girl that I try to go in with an open mind, but I feel like she has the least amount of character focus. It has more to do with the fact of how everybody else is reacting to this, who is this mysterious woman, more so than the character herself, which is kind of ironic. But eventually she finds Sonus and has him at gunpoint, and Oliver tries to tell her that killing him in cold blood is wrong, even though they just had a whole action sequence where they just gunned down a bunch of his men and blew up a helicopter. So the argument kind of falls flat, and Oliver goes with the typical "what would he or she want" line, and it's kind of funny, but I'm glad that they kind of flipped the script on this, that Tina just caps the guy, but then at the end of the second episode, she comes to Oliver's office because he was in the parking lot and revealed his identity to earn her trust, and basically said that she didn't feel any gratification from killing Sonus, that the vengeance felt empty, and that's when she revealed that her real name was Dinah Drake, not Tina Boland. And I guess like another subplot was like Diggle was still in prison trying to fight the bogus charges, and in order to prevent him from being extradited from Iron Heights to that general's custody who was trying to set him up for, who was trying to frame him, Adrian Chase, who was there at Oliver's behest, convinces Diggle to punch him and says like, "Oh, you committed assault because he committed assault, and just used like a legal loophole to prevent the extradition, so he has to stay at Iron Heights now, and Iron Heights because he committed assault on, in a local prison, and all that, some legal mumbo jumbo." But then eventually Felicity is able to get in touch with another hacktivist who they meet at a park, and it's kind of cute how she's like fangirling over meeting Felicity, and she has like a lot of the same mannerisms as she does. But she's able to give him a drive that essentially from the NSA, proving Diggle's innocence, and he's able to like get out of jail. And I just hope that doesn't just like wipe away that whole storyline, because I feel like it's kind of a loose end. Like, what's gonna stop that general who framed Diggle from coming after him in later episodes? I just hope that wrap that up in a future storyline. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the episode. What do you guys think of it? Did you want Black Siren to get a redemption arc, or did you prefer Dinah Drake? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.